just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill. Paying anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some of them just sing the blues. Oh, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Streetlight people. Don't stop.
McGinty.
Hey now, I was counting on an enthusiastic crowd. Now tell me, is Pittsburgh in the house? Anybody here ready to work, ready to fight, and ready to win? All right. I just have a strange idea that this might be a crowd that's ready to make some history. Are we ready to welcome Madam President on November 8th? But I think you know now, I have a special request. As long as we're shattering that glass ceiling in the White House, could we make it a 2-for-1 deal? Shatter that ceiling in the Senate? Well, we've got a mission, that is true. But listen, this is what we know. Our mission is urgent. Our mission is one we have to win. We have to win. We have to win because we stand for good people who are out there working hard every single day, giving it their all. They deserve a helping hand. They deserve all of us standing with them. Here's what we know. We know that two guys, Barack Obama and Joe Biden, we know that they saved our economy from going totally off a cliff. Yes, they did. They turned it around. And what we also know is that Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine will keep us moving and growing and growing. Now, we can't go back. Anybody here going to let them take us back? No. We got to move forward. We have to move forward. Now, we know Hillary Clinton will lead us forward. Now, what about that Trump-Toomey team? I'll tell you what, with friends like Trump-Toomey, we don't need any enemies. We know this. We know this. Donald Trump is a fraud. You know, there's a guy that was given everything, given wealth, given power, given privilege. And what did he do with it? He used it to abuse. He used his power and his privilege to abuse women, we know, and to abuse and defraud good, honest businesses. That's what Donald Trump has been about. And what of our man, Pat Toomey? Has he been standing up? Has he been manning up to Donald Trump? Well, he keeps telling us that he has differences with Donald Trump and that he's waiting to be persuaded. Differences? Well, now, isn't that dainty and delicate? And waiting to be persuaded, what more could Pat Toomey need to hear? What more could he need to hear from a Donald Trump who insulted a Gold Star family that made the ultimate sacrifice for this country? What more could he need to hear from a Donald Trump that has bragged about abusing women? What more could he possibly need to hear from a Donald Trump who now threatens to try to take our democracy down if he does not win? Anybody here going to let Donald take our democracy down? No. What more does he need to hear from a Donald Trump who earned the endorsement of the Ku Klux Klan? What more does he need to hear? What Pat Toomey needs to hear from us is, Senator, you are out of time, and in a couple days, you're going to be out of a job. So Pat Toomey tells us this: send me to Washington, and then I'll stand up to Donald Trump. Well, Senator, no time like the present. How about standing up right here, right now, today? We have seen a person who is ready to and has stood up to Donald Trump, and that person's name is Hillary Clinton. This we know. In politics, the definition of courage and character is doing the right thing, even though it might cost you some votes. Pat Toomey has failed the test of courage and character. He has failed. But looking at this crowd, one thing I know is no one in this room is going to fail the test. You're not going to fail the test because you stand for hope, not fear. You're not going to fail the test because you stand for bringing people together rather than tearing people apart. You won't fail because you stand for a good education for every single child. Your zip code is not your destiny in this country. You won't fail because we stand with our seniors and our veterans, and shame on Pat Toomey for voting not once but 7 times against our veterans. We stand with our veterans. And we won't fail because we stand for the dignity and privacy of women and our LGBT neighbors and friends. We stand. And I know this, when someone puts in a hard day's work, we stand for a decent day's pay, and we will work to increase the minimum wage and equal pay for equal work. This is a team that knows we stand together, stronger together. We stand stronger together. We stand stronger together. Let's work, let's fight, and let's win. Now, I have a particular pleasure. I'll tell you what, Pittsburghers are stars. You hit it out of the park. And we are about to welcome home a Pittsburgh homeboy and a star, a great entrepreneur, a great innovator, someone who knows in business that a business succeeds. Help me welcome Mark Cuban.
What's up, Pittsburgh? How you guys doing? All right, I'm gonna ask everybody to quiet down a little bit. We got a lot of great speakers to fire you up. I'm gonna ask you to think a little bit here. All right? I want everybody here to close their eyes. Just close them. What I want you to do is think of 3 people you know love Secretary Clinton, but you're not sure if they're going to vote. And I want you to think of exactly what you're going to do to get them to go out on Tuesday and vote. I'm going to give you a second to think about it. And now, I want you to think of 3 people who are on the fence, or maybe really confused. And I'm going to give you something for you to talk to them about. Because this election is no longer about the candidates. It's about us. It's about what each and every one of us are going to do to make this world a better place. And I put together a little acronym called TRUST. T-R-U-S-T. Because I want, look, I live in Texas. I mean, every minute of every day, I feel like I'm spending my time trying to convince people why Secretary Clinton will be a great president. But sometimes it can drag on. So I wanted to simplify for everybody, because we all have those friends that we just don't understand what they're thinking. And we all need that ammunition to go to them and say, this is it. So with those 3 people or more that you have in mind, I want you to think of the word trust. Because the first letter in trust is T. Now, do we want a president who doesn't know when to shut up? Who doesn't know when to talk and when not to? No. T, talks too much. That's Donald Trump. Let me give you the perfect example. Remember when he went down to Mexico to meet with the president and he thought it was a good idea? He meets with the president, he gets up, they make their little comments. He had agreed with the president of Mexico not to take questions and not to talk about the meeting. What's the first thing he does after they make after they get together and they make their comments? He talks about the meeting. You cannot be president of the United States if you don't know when to shut up. You can't be president of the United States if you don't know when to and when not to talk. So when you start talking to your friends and you're convincing them to vote on Tuesday, T is for talk. What about R? R is for rip off. Look, I'm blessed, right? I have more than I ever possibly could have imagined when I was growing up, starting on Hobart Street in Squirrel Hill. We lived in a tiny little apartment that, you know, God bless my dad, he did upholstery on cars, and I never could have imagined. But now, you know, I have the opportunity, I've been blessed beyond my wildest dreams financially. And there's a time when you just say, you know what, it's not worth it. I don't need to take money from people, and I certainly don't need to rip people off. I have enough. Now you look at Donald. You look at Donald Trump, and I want to bring it back up, Trump University. This is a man who talks about wanting to support the working man. This is a person who says he wants to help Americans. Yet this is somebody who, without thinking twice, stole millions of dollars from 38,000 people. Who does that? Donald Trump, that's who does that. Yeah. Who said jag off? All right, this isn't working, I'll wing it. Look, we're talking about the most important position in the universe, the most powerful position on the planet. Do we want somebody who ripped off hardworking Americans? 38,000 of us for millions of dollars, and he starts trial November 28th. I mean, how crazy is that? All this nonsense that's been out there in the media, and this is a guy truly going to trial in 3.5 weeks. So T is for know when not to talk and when to talk. R is for rip off. U is about us. This is our election. This is our chance to stand up and tell the world that we believe. We believe in somebody who knows what the right thing to do is. We believe in someone who is smart. We believe in someone who understands the balance of power in the world. We don't believe in someone who has... This guy the other day is giving a speech from a teleprompter, and he has to remind himself, Donald, stay on topic. It's like he's civil. Donald, stay on topic. No, I don't want to stay on topic. Donald, stay on topic. Come on. I mean, it's like you just a little, you know, Angel Donald who's like already left the building, and, you know, Devil Donald. Yeah, you want to say it? No, it's crazy, right? This is about us. And so when I asked you to close your eyes and think about 3 people that already support Secretary Clinton, you need to get them to vote. When I ask you about the undecideds, find 3 people. You need to convince them to get out and vote for Secretary. It's about us. Now we're at TRUS, science. On one hand, we have a candidate, Secretary Clinton, who wants to invest in science and technology. She knows that part of what has made America a leader of the free world is that we've been able to innovate. We've been able to go to the moon. We've been able to look at the UPMC. We've been able to do things that no other country's been able to do. The internet, the list just keeps on growing. She wants to invest so we stay ahead. She wants to invest so we create jobs. She wants to invest so there are more, we can train more people. She wants to invest so we can invest in STEM for kids. On the other hand, while Secretary Clinton believes in science and understands science and has some of the best advisors in the world helping her with science, Donald Trump can't even spell the word. You know, there's that little devil Donald going, it's science, you know, maybe weird science. But this is a man, this is a candidate who says that climate change is a hoax and he wants to blame it on China. Look, I've got 3 little kids, the youngest is 7. Even just a 1% chance of climate change, we have to take the steps necessary to stop it. We have to take the steps necessary to keep our kids, their kids, safe again. We can't deny science. This is the guy who said, that talked about Patton would never send an email. I mean, who even thinks that way? Exactly. For us to retain our position as the #1 economy, as the leader in innovation, the leader in technology, the leader in science, we need a candidate who's going to invest in science. So T, talk, R, rip off, U, us, S, science, and finally, the last T is trust. Do you trust Donald Trump? Let me tell you a story. There would come a time, there's always a time in politics, global politics, where money's at stake. You hear all these stories about all these dictators who have taken billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, and absconded with it, and now live on islands they own, right? Oligarchs who have taken from the people billions and now live wherever they want. There's going to come a time, if Donald Trump, God help us, was president, or a Putin, or an Assad would say to him, Donald, if you do this, I'll give you $20 billion. What's $20 billion to them? What's $30 billion? For them, that's nothing. If Donald Trump, who rips off people for thousands, gets offered by some dictator somewhere, some despot somewhere, $20 billion, you think he's going to do what's right for the country? Or do you think he's going to take the money? Do you think he's got the temperament to do the right thing? Do you think he's got the fortitude to do the right thing? Do you think he cares more about you or his bank account? Can you trust Donald Trump? Absolutely not. So, this Tuesday, we need you to find your friends, not just the ones that believe and agree and know and will vote for Secretary Clinton, but those who are undecided. And we need to tell you, we need you, I need you, we all need each other to go and tell these people this is about trust, T-R-U-S-T. Because we cannot trust that man to not put his pocketbook, his bank account, which he values more than anything. It's inconceivable to think that anybody would trust him to say no to $20 billion or any ridiculous offer. But there is one candidate we do trust. There is. The one candidate I would trust with my family, in any one of my businesses, with my country. The next president of the United States, Secretary Hillary Clinton.
It is great to be here. Thank you. I am very happy to be in the home of the Steelers. And I really appreciate having my two escorts, Mel Blount and Franco Harris. I am very grateful to have this chance to be in Pittsburgh, so close to this election. Now, I know the Steelers have a big game on Sunday against Baltimore. Let's hear it for Coach Tomlin and the team. His wonderful wife, Kia, is here, and I'm very proud to have the support of Dan Rooney and Pat Rooney and the entire Rooney family. Dan was a great ambassador to Ireland when I was Secretary of State, and wherever he goes, he's a great ambassador for Pittsburgh. So I thank Dan, and I thank Jim Rooney, who was so helpful in putting this together, and everyone from the Steelers family. Now, you've just heard two terrific speeches, haven't you? I can't tell you how excited I am to be back here in Pittsburgh with one of your own, somebody who has made it but never forgot where he came from, someone who I really admire because of the way he's done his business. And it's an absolute honor, Mark, to have your support in this campaign. And I'll have more to say about my friend Katie McGinty, but boy, I hope you're going to send her to Washington. I want to recognize my friend and former colleague, Senator Bob Casey, who is here. Pittsburgh Mayor Bill Peduto, who is here. Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, who is here. And two great labor leaders who are also here. The president of the American Federation of Teachers, Randy Weingarten, is here. And the president of the United Steelworkers, Leo Gerard, is here. It's great to have all of these strong supporters out in these last 4 days. That's all that's left in what may be the most important election of our lifetimes. So are you ready to vote, Pittsburgh? Are you ready to volunteer for these last 4 days to get out the vote? Are you ready to elect Katie McGinty to the United States Senate? I'll tell you, I've known Katie. She's a real fighter, and she will be the kind of independent voice that Pennsylvania families deserve. And unlike her opponent, she's never been afraid to stand up to Donald Trump. And now let me ask you, are you ready to choose our next president and commander-in-chief? I think this is one of the best places for a crowd event ever. Folks here get all fired up and energized, and I have to ask you, did any of you see any of the debates? Well, I spent 4.5 hours standing next to Donald Trump, proving conclusively I have the stamina to be the next president of the United States. But, you know, he said so many things in those debates. It's, you know, when you debate in front of, 60, 70, 80 million plus people, you gotta have a sense of preparation, readiness, calmness, composure. And I'll tell you, some of what I heard coming from my opponent, it was really hard not to go, "What did you say?" You know, he kept saying things like, "Well, what have you done for 30 years?" And, well, we know what he's done for 30 years. And, I mean, back in the 70s, he started with discriminating against African Americans and Latinos by refusing to rent them apartments in New York. He has a long history of insulting people. It did not just start in the campaign. You can go back and find what he said about all kinds of folks. And one of the things I discovered in preparing for the debates, which I was kind of surprised by, is that he took out a full-page ad in 1987 to criticize President Reagan. So he is a equal opportunity insulter. But I did choose a different path from him. I have spent my career fighting for kids and families, and I'm proud that I have. I helped to start something called the Children's Health Insurance Program as First Lady. It covers 8 million kids, and I have to tell you that traveling around Pennsylvania, really anywhere in the country, I meet people who have been affected by the kinds of changes that we can do that give more folks a chance to get ahead. I'm all about making sure the American dream is big enough for everybody. And we're going to knock down the barriers that stand in the way. And, if you don't have your health, it's pretty hard to get ahead, right? And so I meet families who tell me about what that meant. And it really, it makes me very grateful. And I was a senator from New York on 9/11, and I spent my 8 years in the Senate helping to rebuild New York, keep us safer at home, and to provide health care to our brave first responders, our firefighters, our police, our EMTs, who ran toward danger. And as your Secretary of State, I traveled to 112 countries, negotiated ceasefires, reduced the threat of nuclear weapons, stood up for human rights and women's rights and workers' rights and LGBT rights around the world. Now, I really believe that if you want to get things done that'll help people, you start by listening to people, bringing them together. Now, I know that is not very exciting, I admit. And I do feel kind of sorry for the press covering me, because what are they going to say for the 100th time? She was listening to people. I get that. But everything I've done started there. And then you bring people together, and you put them around the table. They don't all agree with each other. And then you work to find common ground. That's what I did in the Senate and as Secretary of State. I could have never gotten anything done if I hadn't worked with Republicans and others who had different points of view. And I want you to know, if you elect me on Tuesday, that is the kind of president I will be. Listening, working, finding common ground. And from the very first days of this campaign, I've been putting forward my ideas about how to help you and your families get ahead. And I truly believe you deserve a candidate you can vote for, not just someone to vote against. And so, you can go to my website. Tim Kaine and I wrote a book called Stronger Together, because I want you to know what the agenda is, and I want you to hold me accountable. When I come back to Pittsburgh, which I hope to do on a regular basis, I I want people to say, hey, you know, I saw where you wanted to do more on infrastructure. How's that going? How many new jobs do we have? What kinds of opportunities do we have with clean renewable energy jobs? What about raising the national minimum wage? Now, one way or another, America is going to have a new president on January 20th, right? And people say all the time, well, they want change. Well, we will get change. Change is inevitable. That is certain. The question is, what kind of change are we going to have? And here's where I think the choice could not be clearer. Are we going to build a stronger, fairer, better America, or are we going to fear each other and the future, hunker down against each other? I don't think that will lead to anything positive. And what I hope we will do in this election in these remaining 4 days is to think about the kind of country we want. Imagine what we can do together. Every time I come into Pittsburgh now, because I started driving through Pittsburgh decades ago, because my dad was from Scranton and we drove through Pennsylvania every year and we took different routes and we went to different places. And I, with my own eyes, have seen the ups and the downs of this great city. And now when I drive in, what do I see? I see a positive, optimistic, confident city, making progress, moving forward. And I don't think you do anything in life unless you kind of imagine what it'll look like, and then you get to work to do it. That's how Mark has built these great companies. Right here in Pittsburgh, when he was a young guy and working hard for everything he had, he got a chance to start imagining. And then he got a chance to start acting and producing results. Well, that's the way it works. That's the way it works with the Steelers, right? I mean, people imagine what the team can be like. They plan. The coaches, they work hard. The players like Mel and Franco, they practice, they plan. You don't just say, hey, just get out in the field, do whatever you want. That's not the way it works, my friends. And so what I'm hoping is that we will imagine two different Americas. Just for the sake of this exercise, imagine it's Donald Trump standing in front of the Capitol. And we already know a lot about him. Someone who demeans women, mocks people with disabilities, insults African Americans and Latinos, and demonizes immigrants and Muslims and pits people against each other instead of pulling us together. And think about what it would mean to entrust the nuclear codes to someone with a very thin skin who lashes out at anyone who challenges him. Imagine how easily it could be that Donald Trump would feel insulted and start a real war, not just a Twitter war at 3 o'clock in the morning. Imagine what it would mean for our economy to have someone who built his career exploiting workers, stiffing small businesses. Now, you heard earlier from Andrew Tesoro. He designed a building for Donald Trump. Trump told him he loved it. It was one of his golf courses. And then Trump would not pay the bill. Now, Andrew didn't have the resources to sue the Trump organization. So Trump just walked away from what was owed. This is someone who personally signed, not some executive, he personally signed a contract with a union-busting firm to keep workers at one of his hotels from being able to organize and bargain collectively. And just yesterday, Donald Trump was told he was breaking the law by not negotiating with his hotel workers in Las Vegas. And we know, and the steel workers sure know, he chose to build 2 of his buildings with Chinese steel and aluminum instead of supporting America's steel industry and American steel workers. everywhere he goes, he leaves people behind. You know, one of my goals as president is to encourage more companies to do what Mark did with profit sharing. If any of you were with us when Mark endorsed me, Tim Kaine and I were here in Pittsburgh, and he talked about how he has shared the profits of his company, including the profits he gained when he sold his companies. I think you told me, Mark, you made 300 millionaires at your first company. Look, we've got to have a strong private sector. We need business to be creating more jobs. I really like the kind of jobs and business that Mark does, because what he does is to worry about and take care of the people who help make him successful in the first place. Now, imagine having a president who owes hundreds of millions of dollars to foreign banks and other foreign entities that he doesn't tell us about. Ask yourself, so if he's sitting across the table negotiating with people from those countries, is he going to put his own financial interests ahead of America's interests? I can tell you this, when I'm sitting across the table from the Russians or anyone else, I know who I'm representing, the American people and our interests. Now, my friends, we got some good news this morning. Our economy created 161,000 jobs last month. That is 73 straight months of job growth. And I believe that our economy is poised to really take off and thrive. But we need to make sure the economy is working for everyone, not just those at the top. And that is my pledge. I believe in growth from the middle out and the bottom up. When the middle class thrives, America thrives. Donald Trump believes something different. He wants an economy that works for him. That's why he wants to give the biggest tax breaks in history to the super wealthy and big corporations. His own family would get a $4 billion tax break. Now, figure that out. We know he hasn't paid taxes, right? If it turns out that he's as rich as he claims, it would be trickle-down economics on steroids. The wealthy would be paying lower tax rates than ever. His plan, and this is what I want you to hear. So he's taking care of himself, he's taking care of his family, he's taking care of the super wealthy and corporations. His plan would actually raise taxes on 26 million low-income and middle-class people. He would hit especially hard. 51% of single parents would see their taxes go up. That means that 316,000 working families in Pennsylvania would pay more under Donald's plan. Honestly, I don't know how he lives with himself. Doesn't he see what we see? The millions of moms and dads struggling to make ends meet, balance the demands of work and family, or does he just not care? Remember, this is a man who said pregnancy is an inconvenience for an employer. He has said, and I quote, putting a wife to work is a very dangerous thing. Well, I see things differently. When I say we need to make the economy work for everyone, not just those at the top, I mean everyone. Families are facing a lot of pressures. In many families, women are contributing to the income of their families, or they are the sole income in the family. More people than ever are working gigs on the side just to make extra money or to make ends meet. And for working families, the cost of everything is going up, from childcare to prescription drugs to college education. And I think we all know somebody who's working 2 minimum wage jobs and trying to raise their families at the same time. It's hard being good workers and good parents. And we know young people who want to start a small business the way Mark did when he got going. And maybe they want to buy a first home, or they just got married and they're trying to get ahead in life, but student debt is holding them back. And I want us to know that I will do everything I can to help ease the costs of middle class and working and poor families so that more people can do better. And right now, so many of the people who are doing the toughest, most important jobs in our country are getting paid the least. And a lot of them are women and people of color, right? Child care workers trying to take care of our kids. Nurses who work the night shift and spend more time with their patients than the doctors do. The home health aides who keep our seniors independent and healthy. There are so many jobs of value to our society where the paychecks don't reflect how important they are. So I will do everything I can to get incomes rising for hardworking people. Whether you work in steel, whether you work in a factory, whether you're a machinist, a nurse, a teacher, a firefighter, police officer, whatever you are, you deserve to be part of a growing, thriving, middle-class economy. And so that's why we're going to raise the national minimum wage, and we're going to join every other advanced economy and make sure we've got paid family and medical leave so you can take care of the people you love. And here it is, 2016. Don't you think it's finally time to guarantee equal pay for women? Well, I got to tell you, this is not a woman's issue, it's a family issue. If you have a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, you want her to be paid equally because that goes to your family's bottom line. Now, I've gotten sort of used to the fact that when I talk about equal pay or paid family leave or affordable child care, Donald Trump and his supporters say I'm playing the woman card. Well, I'll tell you what, if fighting for those kids and family issues is playing the woman's card, you know what I say? Deal me in. We are going to invest in our people, especially our young people. We don't have anybody to waste or leave behind. We can't leave any talent on the sidelines. And we've got to make sure we fight against discrimination. We've got to work in communities where factories have closed and nothing has come in to replace it, like so many places in central and western PA. And we're going to make the biggest investment in good-paying jobs since World War II. There's a lot of good work to be done in this country, and that work will put people in jobs here in America that cannot be exported. They've got to be done right here. So, my friends, we're going to make our economy stronger for decades. We're going to make America the 21st century clean energy superpower. We're going to produce enough renewable energy to power every home. We're going to make it easier for small businesses and entrepreneurs to get the credit they need to grow. And we're going to make it possible again to say and believe it, that in America, if you can dream it, you can build it. And part of that dream is making sure people get the education and the skills they need. So here's what I want to do. Starting in preschool, I want to better prepare every kid to do well in real school, right? I want every kid to have good schools and good teachers in every zip code in America, not just some. I want us to bring back technical education to high school. And once again, necessary jobs that don't require a 4-year college degree. I want us to do more with our community colleges and more apprenticeship programs by unions and businesses to help prepare people. And I am tired of meeting young people who can't either start or finish college because they can't afford it. We're going to make public colleges and universities tuition-free if you make less than $125,000 a year. And for people who are struggling with student debt, we're going to help you refinance it, get the lower interest rates you deserve to have, help you pay it back, and get out from under it. Now, you know I have a lot of ideas. I could keep you here till the game starts on Sunday. You know, I like to make lists, and I especially like crossing things off. Somebody told me that's kind of a woman thing. We make lists all the time. I make lists of my lists. But I have a list about what we're going to do. And it's because it all comes down to this. I love our country and I believe in the American people. And I know there's nothing we can't achieve if we work together. So as you head to the polls, as you talk to your friends and neighbors who might still be deciding who to vote for, please ask them to search their heart about what kind of country we want for our kids and our grandkids. It is not as important that they think about voting for me as it is that they think about voting for themselves. Every issue we care about is on the ballot on Tuesday. And I know that if we have a big win on Tuesday, we will have a big wind behind our backs going in to government in January. So tell everybody, please, to vote, and you can make the difference going to the polls on Tuesday, November 8th. If you don't know where to vote, go to iwillvote.com to confirm your voting location or to find out how to send in an absentee ballot. We are on track right now to having the biggest turnout in American history. People in states where they have early voting have already set a record. We have 31 million people who've already voted. And if you know anybody here in Pittsburgh or in Western PA who's thinking about voting for Trump, please stage an intervention before it's too late. I mean, really, just sit down with them and ask them what they care about. And if they say they're just frustrated or angry, say you understand, but anger is not a plan. We've got work to do. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to do it together. If you can give us any time to volunteer, go to HillaryClinton.com to sign up or text JOIN, J-O-I-N, at 47246, because believe me, I don't want any of us, not me and not you, to wake up on Wednesday and think if we'd only done a little bit more, things would have turned out differently. Sometimes the fate of the greatest nations comes down to single moments in time. This is one of those make or break moments for the United States. It is in your hands. And when your kids and your grandkids ask what you did in 2016, when everything was on the line, I hope you'll be able to say, I voted for a better, stronger, fairer America, where we build walls. We don't build walls, we build bridges. And where we build the future that we want. And where we prove once and for all that love trumps hate. Thank you all. God bless you.
You that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we'll rise. Oh, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, I like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. It's time for me to take it. I'm the boss right now, not gonna fake it. Now when you go down, 'cause this is my game, and you better come to play. I used to hold my freak back, now I'm letting go. I make my own choice, yeah, I run this show. So leave the lights on, no you can't make me behave. So you say I'm complicated, that I must be out of my mind. But you've had me underrated, rated. What's wrong with being, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with being, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being confident? It's time to get the chains out. Is your tongue tied up? 'Cause this is my round, and I'm dangerous, and you can get off. But it's all about me tonight. So you say I'm complicated, that I must be out of my mind. But you've had me underrated, rated. What's wrong with being, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with being, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with being, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with being, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being confident? So you say I'm complicated, but you've had me underrated. What's wrong with being, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with being, what's wrong with being confident? I've been stumbling on good hearts turned to stone. The road of good intentions is gone dry as a bone. We take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. From Chicago to New Orleans, from the muscle to the bone. From the shotgun shack to the Superdome. There ain't no help, the cavalry stayed home. There ain't no one hearing the bugle blown. We take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. Where the eyes with a will to see. Where the hearts that run over with mercy. Where's the love that has not forsaken me? Where's the work that'll set my hands, my soul free? Where's the spirit that'll reign over me? Where's the promise from sea to shining sea? Where's the promise from sea to shining sea? Wherever this flag is flown, wherever this flag is flown, wherever this flag is flown, we take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. We take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. Hold on to me, don't let me go. Who cares what they see? Who cares what they know? Your first name is free, last name is dumb. But you still believe in where we're from. Man's white flower, it's in every living thing. Mind, use your power. Spirit, use your wings. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Hold on to me, oh, don't let me go. Cheetahs need to eat, run antelope. Your first name is King, last name is Dumb. 'Cause you still believe in everyone. When the baby first breathes, when the night sees sunrise, when the whale hugs the sea, when man recognizes freedom, 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 breathing. We are from heat, the electric one. Just a shock you see. He left us the sun. Atoms in the air, organisms in the sea. Sun and yes man are made of the same things. Freedom! 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 Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more